Hello, everyone. This is Shelley Hagen. I'm back again with a tip of the day today. And today I want to talk to you briefly about working with hard money lenders. Some of you already work with hard money lenders. Some of you are just getting started. This is just a couple of things to keep in mind as you're going forward. Whenever I'm working with hard money lenders, they're typically people that are, dedicated to doing private lending as a business. And so some of them actually have a storefront and run a MIC, Mortgage Investment Corp, that they would have within their organization. So they've gone to securities, they've gotten an offer memorandum, they've gathered a group of investors together, and they guarantee them a certain return on their investment. So typically they're going to charge you, of course, a little bit higher to do that. Some people are hard money lenders, and they work through brokers. They don't necessarily have a storefront. You can find hard money lenders through your brokers that you're working with. Also by just Googling hard money in your area, Toronto, Vancouver, Phoenix, wherever you're going to be at. There's a lot of hard money that's out there in the marketplace that's available. And especially since the global financial crash of 2008 really has made the hard money lender field much bigger, because a lot of the banks don't cover often some of the areas that they used to before, and now hard money has kind of picked up the slack as you go forward. So I want to know, first of all, are they local? How far will they go? Where do they lend to? How long have they been in business? Have they been doing this for a long time? And, is it something that they are regulated with a MIC, as I was mentioning? Every one of them have kind of a niche. What do they specialize in doing? Do they specialize in doing fix and flips? Do they do land development? Some of them might do a little bit of lending on multi-unit properties as well. And if that's the case, then what is their criteria? What are they looking for as you're going forward? I typically use hard money for fix and flips. There's a group that I work with here in Calgary that are excellent. They specialize in it. When you first start out as a first-time investor with them, a borrower, they will maybe charge you a little bit higher. The more you work with them and they know that you know what you're doing, the rates get a little bit better. They're a little bit easier to deal with. They're they're very focused on what happens in their area. But they're very limited though. Most hard money will only lend locally within their state or their province. They might do maybe, the neighboring state or province, but they don't go usually across the entire country. So you got to find out what their criteria is. What kind of loan to value do they lend on? If they're doing a flip, for example, they might lend on 80% of the purchase price. Or they may lend on 80% of the after repair value. So I've been able to get into properties that I got hard money loan on and actually close on the property with none of my own cash. I just had to come up with the money for the repairs. For land development, they typically are only going to do maybe 50%, because there is no asset beside the land typically on the property in order for them to secure it. And they're likely going to have to do some kind of security. They're going to want a lien against the property to protect themselves and their investors that might be with them, so that in case you don't pay, they have a recourse to go after you. There are some non-recourse loans where you don't actually have to pay the money back. However, usually you're going to need some kind of a humanitarian element with that. You're going to create jobs, it's going to be green energy, housing, etc., that you might be doing. So you need to check around and see what depends on the nature of the project that you're working on. What kind of interest rates are they going to charge you? Typically, it's going to be between 8 and 18%. 8% would be great if you can get it, not always. Probably you're going to be somewhere around that 12, 14% on average, maybe and higher as you go forward. Depends on how the loan looks and you and your credit. You do still need to, they still would want to talk about you and the deal, but they do look at the property in the deal typically is stronger. I do want to know, what are their fees going to be? All hard money lenders will have some kind of a fee. And you might hear it called, percentages or points. Basically, points are a percentage point. So if you're lending if you're borrowing $100,000 and they have 1% fee, then you're going to have a $1,000 fee. However, not all of them are that cheap. Some of them are much, higher in their fees. And if you're working with a mortgage broker, the mortgage broker is also going to charge you a fee to get into that too. So when you're planning out your project, make sure you include that in your expenses to make sure you got enough money in your budget to enable you to go after hard money, because it's not going to be cheap, but it's quick and easy and it helps you get in and get the deal done. That's what you really need to be looking at, but it needs to make sense for you on your deal. If they're asking for upfront fees as well, I don't like that, especially if it's non-refundable earnest money, because you have no guarantee that that lender is going to perform. So I don't want to put out 3,000 or 5,000 or more upfront and then have them walk away, never do the deal, and I've lost my money. If you're going to put money up front, it has to be refundable. You may want to put it in trust or escrow with your attorney so that you have some recourse to get it back. So think about it and check around. If that's the only way you can find the deal, then it may or may not be with the deal you want to do. What kind of terms are they going to offer you? Typically, most fix and flips are 6 months to a year that they're going to give you for an actual amortization period. And you're paying simple interest. So you're going to still need to pay the principal back. Usually the payments you're making are interest only with hard money. What I want to know on a fix and flip, can I possibly pay the entire amount at the end of the flip? So that could be 6 months down the road or a year. Can I pay it as one balloon payment at that time? Or are they going to require me to do monthly payments? Sometimes it might be quarterly. Land development, probably they're going to want some kind of quarterly payment on their deal. Some lenders, especially in your larger projects, may also require to have a part of the deal. So they might give you a smaller interest rate, but then they take 10 or 20% of the deal at the end. Or they might just lend you the money as collateral where they want to get part of the deal rather than charge you, points. So everything's negotiable. It really just depends on the deal and depends on the lender and who you're dealing with. And you want to know too, what is the minimum that they could lend and the maximum? Because maybe you're looking for 500,000 and they only have 350,000 available right now, or that could be the limit as to what they will lend on. So all of those things are just questions to ask. Write them down. Create a little sheet for yourself. You remember when you go to phone them, ask them all those questions, phone 2 or 3 of them, figure out which ones are the ones in your area you want to work with, and, create a little database of these people and have them on hand. And so, hopefully you're going to be able to find someone in your area or someplace close by that can help you with that. So those are just some quick tips. There's a lot of other things to keep in mind. Some of them might want you to have an appraisal paid for. They might want to have, environmental study done if you're going into multi-unit or land development. So there could be other hidden costs there too. Find out all the information right up front so that when you go to, sign on the dotted line to move forward with them, you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. So anyway, so that's my tip of the day. I want to wish you all an abundant week, and we'll be back again later. Have a great day.